Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Um, yeah, quite a few people here today. That's great. So, yeah, I'd love to do a little check-in. I also have a few things that have come in during the week from some of the participants in the 7 days sadhana. So some of them can't be here for this. So this is being recorded for them. And I'm going to address some of the things that have been coming up for some people as well. Um, but maybe we can, yeah, just start off. I'll just open it up right now. And if anything is coming up for anyone, yeah, I'd love to just hear what's percolating, what's happening in the practice. And it can be a question or just whatever. If there's insights, there's um, unfoldings that maybe I can reflect back, or the group can reflect back. So yeah, you can just uh, either just unmute or use the raise hand feature, which I think is now, for most people, it's probably under the react button. There's a react button there. So there are these reactions, and one of them is the raise hand action, or just unmute, that's easier.
Hi, Dan.
Hello, hi Lisa, how are you?
Hi, namaste. I'm good. How are you?
Namaste, very well. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, no, this has been quite the journey. I've been on this journey since last November 1st, 2024, and I can't believe it's been a whole year coming up soon. And it has definitely enhanced this experience. And in many ways, but recently I was guided intuitively to sit in the dark.
Mm,
Before I had heard of darkness retreats.
yeah.
Someone mentioned it on this Q&A, I think, two
Mhm.
weeks ago.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it. And then a
Mm.
channeler that I follow actually went on a 3-day darkness retreat,
Mhm.
which I had never heard of.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you, it's subtle. I wouldn't say it's like, well, I have noticed quite a difference. First of all, it feels sacred to
Mhm.
meditate in the dark,
Yeah.
and it feels ancient. Like I imagine I'm in a cave or in the pyramids.
Mhm. Amazing. Yeah.
Something ancient is there, lit by one
Mhm.
candle, like a little bit of candlelight.
Mhm.
But um, but what I had heard from this channeler that went on the 3-day darkness retreat, her feedback or what she realized was this, and I'm sure we can all relate, is this rushing to the next thing. Like, even though she was there for 3 days, 72 hours, or whatever it is, in the dark, not being able to see your food, not being able to see the sunrise or sunset, there was this intuitive sense that she knew the sun was rising, felt that it was setting, and she had noticed that eating her food, it was always like, okay, I better eat my food and then go do meditate or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And it was just, well, wait a minute, what am I? These patterns of moving on to the next thing, um, brushing my teeth, always kind of moving on to the next thing. But there was just so much space in between these things. And what she realized is the ability to chew the food, to actually use those senses that were really heightened to actually, it's the other senses that really came online. But I just wanted to share with you as I tuned into the soul stream a little bit of what that was reflecting back to me. And it's what the ancients called the luminous void. A 3 day darkness retreat is not merely about sensory deprivation, it is a deliberate reunion with the formless field before light ever emerged. So there's this deep remembering, almost like a familiar sense for me anyway, because I'm not one that likes the dark. I had, I had sleep paralysis for 25 years every single day. I do not like the dark at all. And so I've been getting more familiar with the darkness and sitting still in darkness. But the repatterning of the nervous system, that the darkness removes the constant stimulus loop that modern life saturates us with, so programmed in that loop. And the mind, conditioned by dopamine, driven by sequencing, the reward, react, reward, begins to lose its grip. And I've noticed that a lot. Even the relooping thoughts. And in its absence, something more original arises, its stillness. And as the channeler observed, even noble routines like even meditating or eating carry hidden contractions, like performance imprints. And in darkness, time collapses and the body re-enters a primordial rhythm. Not only that, the melatonin and DMT really come online, and the pineal gland begins to get restored. And there's small pulses of DMT, and that's the bridge between the waking and the consciousness and into that multidimensional perception that I think we're all kind of experiencing on a deeper level. I just wanted to ask you a question. Would you be interested in holding a 3 day darkness retreat? And what are your thoughts?
Wow. Well, yeah, thank you for that. That was amazing. You hit on all the most important elements of what I feel is happening in the darkness retreats. So logistically, it's interesting holding darkness retreats. Like on at the Samadhi Center here, I have a darkness hut, but it's really it's a sort of a one person thing, like you're in there, you have a compost toilet, it's completely dark, like not a trace of light, and I had to go around like with Velcro and black tape to cover every little pinhole of light because there is something that happens after about 3 days in total darkness. As you were saying, sometimes the pineal gland in the darkness, we get these little bursts of the endogenous DMT. But after about 3.5 days. There's a marked shift in the whole system. So what happens is that duality system, like the conditioned system, that you could say the energy of the prana starts to flow through the the center channel. The third eye starts to open, and then that's when it becomes almost like an ayahuasca trip for some people. So it's can be quite dramatic, and at that point, there's no more darkness. It's not a darkness retreat anymore. It's like everything is sort of the luminosity of consciousness is reflected back. So it's still dark, but it's a luminous darkness, and there's an attuning that starts to happen to the subtle energy, and you hit on exactly. There's something primordial that comes. So we're normally when we're in duality, when we're out in the outer world, there's the circadian rhythms are really what are governing our experience. So there's the sun and the moon and all of that, but there that primordial pattern. I love the word primordial. Um, you know, something else comes online, and there's a different sort of energetic current that we attune to. So there are, so I logistically, I wouldn't be able to do a darkness retreat just because I don't have a space that can hold a lot of people. And like to do it in the center would mean like some major, we have these big windows here. So just logistically, it wouldn't work. So and I feel it's, you know, for me, there's a certain point on the journey, certain people are drawn to going into the dark at certain points. So it would be sort of more of a solo thing that we could, you know, maybe support one person doing it, like you, if you if you wanted to do it. So,
Yeah,
um,
I know.
so you know, yeah, that's a possibility. Or you know, there are teachers like Manchak Chia in Thailand has the infrastructure for doing it. So he's got people running around with infrared goggles and serving like power shakes and you know these special nutrients for your brain and all this kind of stuff. And so he's gone into that very deeply, and he's been doing it for decades. And I've never gone to one of those. I almost ended up at one, but something happened, and that's when I ended up just creating my own darkness hut for that. Um,
Wow.
so and some people, you know, you mentioned the food as well, that part of the experience, and um, you know, it's interesting, like for me, and for others, like the in the Tibetan tradition, they this is very common. Like in a lot of the, I think it like if you're a lama, you know, all of the lamas have gone through long darkness retreats as well. Like I think they have like a 20-day or something crazy like that. So but what can happen is, you know, when that inner system comes online, you know, and the prana really starts flowing, there's actually very little need for food in that space. It's like the universe, the prana, you know, you're literally, you know, breathing prana through that system or moving it through. So I found, you know, one of the things that happens is at the beginning there might be, you know, some food and eating and that, but usually that as we go deeper, it just is a natural sort of fasting, which isn't even really a fasting because you're getting energy from the universe. But,
Well, that happens even after the hour. Like I can't eat before I meditate, so I don't eat since like 2, maybe between 12 and 2 p.m. And then I'll meditate, then I'll eat afterwards because I have to be completely empty before I meditate. But I'm not hungry after meditation at all.
mhm, mhm,
And so I can see that happening
mhm.
on longer periods of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for sharing. And maybe one day I'll take you up on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
When
just
I
a,
get brave enough, like you know, it's been like I said, 25 years of everyday sleep paralysis,
yeah.
and that's another thing that's really coming up in the reflection of people in meditation are experiencing just other kind of because we're going so I don't know, people are they call it a tax, but you're just entering that field where everything is, whether it's dense or lighter, not labeling good or bad, but yeah, there's just something that I think we should all be aware of in that state.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
you might want to talk about that at some point if it's necessary, but even the most, let's say, spiritual people or meditators are experiencing this more than ever right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
Anyway, just always put that bubble of whatever, even if you believe in it or not. I think it's
Yeah,
just always
yeah.
good. I like hygiene, just like brush your hair, brush your teeth, brush your aura, whatever it is.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, what you're describing is we see it with a lot of our friends and people in the community. It's yeah, it's an interesting time like that. That ancient sort of presence, you alluded to in that it seems sort of easier to attune to that in the darkness. There is something sort of this ancient presence, which is it's just the presence that's here all the time. It's actually just the ordinary presence, but it seems more available, or it start because there's no there we're not getting caught in the duality in Maya, and so that the sense of I starts to disentangle from the phenomena, and more we're just abiding as that primordial presence, and the sense of I of what I am is more and more with that. As if I'm not getting caught in the usual
right.
patterns.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not that anything new happens really. It's more that the illusory I, the parts that are just connected to Maya, there it's going quiet. That part of the mind, the five skandhas and the sensations, perceptions, memories, all of that goes more dormant. And then what remains? What remains in the darkness is just consciousness itself.
Hmm.
So the spiritual persona, that we tend to cultivate in the spiritual world, it's still part of that. Um, part of Maya. So anything that is not yet purified, if there's still the vasanas, the habitual tendencies of the
Hmm.
mind, whatever's in play in the unconscious, the more we start to recognize our true nature as just pure consciousness, the more that stuff comes to the surface. And
Hmm.
life, the matrix right now is providing all these opportunities. Things are being dismantled left, right, and center. So those entanglements are getting cut just by life itself, and people are having these opportunities to they first you get to see what those entanglements are, if it's attachment to money or relationships or whatever it is, if you're part of one of these big institutions or companies that's going through radical change, then there can be this letting go, and
Hmm.
so I feel there's an acceleration right now. So it's an opportunity to really see truly who we are, and so even the spiritual personas are getting challenged now. They're even all that has to go. And yeah, so it's
Yeah. Yay.
a
Well, it's
beautiful
good.
time.
it's,
Yeah.
it's so because this is how we move on. And one other thing, I just want to thank you for your beautiful compositions and creations, you and Lila. I just listened to the fire one today, and they're so like that's the primordial. I feel within those. It's that same place, that same we've been talking. Yeah, it just brings me right into that. uh,
Mm, thank you.
what we've just been speaking about. So thank you so much
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
those. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
it's
lovely.
beautiful to allow whatever that is to come through, because yeah, it really feels like we're just sort of like delivery mechanisms for that, and just kind of getting ourselves out of the way. So um, yeah.
Cool. Well,
Hmm.
thank you so
Hmm.
much.
Hmm.
Namaste.
Yeah. Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone.
Hmm. Hi, Julie.
Hi,
There. Hello.
good to see you.
Good to see you.
Uh, I enjoyed that conversation. I wanted to share something else. had a glimpse, and it something I can't unsee. That was really amazing, but also different than I thought, because I think a lot of people in the community may have experienced unity consciousness that I never have before. So, but now I did. And I mean, that's the way I describe it. It felt like liberation to me.
Mm.
And it lasted, well, the things that surprised me was, first of all, it was a complete involuntary flip. Like all this preparatory work I'm thinking was okay, great, but I could never have done that. Like it was such a jump in consciousness to where I'm at,
Mm.
that I was like, wow, I don't think I knew that. Like you call the awakening a flip, but this was like a really like someone flipped the switch, and I'm like beyond thoughts. Like there were thoughts, and that's the other thing that surprised me. There were thoughts, but I was like, it can't touch me.
Yeah, amazing.
And also the fact, yeah, the fact that, yeah, that I guess that's what really surprised me was like how I've heard so many times, it's not a blissed out state. It's don't expect something like it's better than you can imagine. Like it's better than, I mean, it's freedom. Like, so anyway,
Mm. So
I
how
was
how
like,
how long did that was that state then?
something that didn't completely wear off, but it was a day. And
Mhm.
then I, in retrospect, I was really kind of still for a few days
Yeah.
talking to angels, it's like normal.
Mhm.
But
Like literally talking to them?
no,
No.
but like
Yeah.
on that vibration where you're just, yeah.
I don't discount anything.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been, I
Mhm.
just had that vibration of love.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then, so when you see that you're just God, like I didn't understand what God consciousness meant, because it always seemed like, I'm so special, I'm God. But it's like there's only God. And so what option do you have? It's like you're just playing your part. Like everyone's has the perfect part.
Mhm.
And it was clear. And it did happen when I was driving through this amazing canyon that we have here that's super special. But just, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like, people just keep saying it's not a special state or something, but it's totally a different level of consciousness. Like,
Mm. Yeah.
it's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. So what you're touching on is the non-dual, it's
Yeah.
the
You,
mystery. Yeah. So I think, when teachers like Adyashanti and Rupert, they talk about just awakening, Kensho is just it's awakening as the ordinary consciousness that's just here right now. So the sense of I, it's like it's that, and I think you've experienced this, is just like the waking up from the dream of the character, and it's just there's that utter simplicity of it. It's just, it's just the consciousness that's always been here, but it's directly experienced as you. Um, but the deepening of that, then, so to me, like what happens on the path, it's very hard to convey to people who haven't experienced it. But, so we awaken from the character, we awaken from Maya, but then somehow we come back to it. Somehow I am not too. I realize I am not too. It's God. It's all that is. It's the one. And it's that coming back to it that is, yeah, it's like the non-dual. There's a rightness to it. There's an alignment, an ease in our being, and it's like a plugging in to big mind. It's like yeah, and no one can tell you that part of it. And there's in my experience, hearing from people and myself, there's an infinite variety of those different flavors of that as well. So we can, we have these you know higher consciousness experiences that are, maybe unique for you. Maybe no other being has ever had that exact experience, or we can have ones that do have a flavor, like there's one where I can experience myself as another person, like I am you, and or I can experience myself as the field of love and bliss. That's one that has a common flavor. I've heard it many times. And so yeah, so I think, what unfolds as the vasanas dissolve and that energy becomes free, uh, yeah, there are these infinite possibilities, and it's like, what does spirit want to show you, and it, yeah, so it's beautiful that you got a taste of that. And I think liberation, to me, I don't, I have a sense that there's just more and more of that plugging into big mind, and I think it's infinite. Like
Oh,
it is like, I love the thousand petal lotus. It's like this infinite bloom that is possible, deeper and deeper. So even what you experienced, maybe there's something beyond that even, maybe it gets more incredible.
yeah, because I thought of that too. I thought, well, there can't be an end to this.
Mhm.
How could this be the ceiling or,
Yeah.
But the other thing that also really surprised me is like how you're saying you're plugged in. Like, it's not like I'm observing, it's like I'm so in it,
Yeah.
and not attached. Just
Yeah.
like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
now I'm doing this. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but everything is like right and interesting and
Yeah.
entertaining and
So it sounds like the witness fell away, that's really, the hallmark of non-duality is there's no more, you become more like what, the Sufis talk about, where, I think they have this, it's a beautiful saying where, like, at first, you're like the empty cup, so we empty ourselves, and that's like the kensho, so I empty myself of the false, and then you experience yourself as the wine, that goes in the cup, and then you become the intoxication itself, so there are these different stages of, you know increasing non-duality, you could say,
well,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's beautiful. So now in this moment, how do you feel about that? Or how is your, do you feel like your life has changed now as a result of that? Or
I certainly cycled back to samskara. Like that seems to happen. Like if I get a glimpse, maybe that's just how it goes. I'll also have a bleh
yeah,
purge after it.
yeah,
But generally, gosh, I feel great. I mean, I'm thinking more and more about sadhana and what, because I also really want that, like
yeah.
I'm like, I used to think I wanted truth, and I'm like, well, that's just a concept, I want liberation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I'm thinking, well, with my practice, like the most important thing for me is to be in that vibration of love, like loving myself and myself as part of all of creation seems to be the closest to that.
Yeah.
And so that as sadhana seems like
Mhm.
to me to be where I'm at.
So how would you describe, so is that kind of like loving yourself as you are in the moment.
Yeah, like
We-
yeah, just playing the frequency of being in love. Yeah, not it's not a judgmental.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm kind of getting over myself. Like, I mean, there's it can go on forever. Like the garbage, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So at
yeah,
some point I just feel like whatever. Like
yeah, yeah. And I think that that realization, you know, we work on the, you know, the samskaras and all this stuff and purifying all these words that we're, you know, but it's all the, you know, it's still sort of optimizing the conditioned self in some way. You know, we're trying to fix it. We're trying to, you know, release traumas and all this stuff. And there is the sadhana is that, you know, it is it's what actually gets us to the point where awakening is possible. But at a certain point, I think we abandon the whole thing. You know, it's like Ramana says, we cut the tree at the root. You know, like you don't, there's no point in going on pruning the tree when you know it's not you. You know,
yeah.
you just cut it at the root, and that root is just, you know, loving it as it is, but recognizing it's not you. You know, you if you're the awareness that is love. You know, it's a loving awareness that's always here, and it actually has nothing to do with that tree. It has it, you know, it's the tree is sort of the reducing valve that we, you know, it goes into this apparently separate character. But when if we're just abiding as that awareness and that love, then that energy is free. So so I think that is the pathless path. It's like we, you know, we work on all that stuff in doing, you know, the practices but at some point let all that go. When we truly know who we are, then, you know, why prune the tree anymore? You know, we can
And
get
it just everyone seems perfect anyway. Like it's kind of like just funny. Like I don't know how to explain it, but all the imperfections are just
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, and that, you know, like in that non-dual state, I suspect, you know, there was an absolute knowing of that. It's all perfect as it is.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
entertainment. Like yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. So the residue of that, if you can just sort of, you know, feel the perfume of that continuing in your life, then yeah, that's it. You know, it's just being okay with what is and actually seeing that it's all God, it's all beauty, it's all the one play. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. It's
Beautiful
been
sharing.
wonderful. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you. I'll go to Delaney. Hi there. Get you to unmute. Yes. Hi.
Hi, this is strange. I've never heard anyone talk on these before.
Ah,
I've only been to the silent sits. Um, I have a longer question that I don't have time for. So I wanted to ask you, how often do you hold these Q&As?
every week at the same time. Yeah, every Tuesday at 11.
At 8. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and like we have an hour and a half. It goes from like 11 till 12:30. So you know,
Oh,
if you have a question, you know, we're that's what we're here for. So so don't feel like you can't share or
okay. Thank you. For me, I'm in San Diego, so it's
okay.
8:40, but I'm assuming you're on the East Coast.
Uh,
Um,
sort of in the middle. Yeah, yeah.
um,
Ian.
Thank you. I will come back for that, and thank you for holding this space. And it's lovely to hear some people's voices in here.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's good to hear your voice too. Thank
yeah,
you. Yeah, namaste. Well, there's one thing that came up. I'm going to pull up something that I wanted to share here. Um, Yeah, yeah, this came from one of the Dyad participants, and there was an interesting synchronicity. I noticed a few of the Dyad participants were saying the same thing, and so it was interesting. It was like the same little message coming through in different ways. So when that happens, I kind of like to address the synchronicity when it comes up. Um, so I've heard like a number of people speaking about the dyads being just an amazing way to come to presence with another being. I think Guy, you were one who mentioned this as well. The dyads. You know, yeah, compared to meditation, some people find that just being with a partner is just really powerful. And the mind goes quiet quickly and clears. Um, and then, so then we go back to life, and it's like some of that stillness permeates life. So when the waves come, the mind is stirred up again, and we go back to the dyad, and the mind gets calm. We come to presence again. So there's this sort of flow, and what happens in the dyad, it starts to creep into life more and more. It's like the perfume of what we experience there creeps into life, so into relationships and our experiences. So we start maybe witnessing life more. We start witnessing our own mind more and more. We start reacting less. Um, we start evaluating, or we evaluate less and less, and this leads to less suffering in life. Um, so this is good. This is the benefit of the dyads is it leads to greater presence, less suffering, and so this is sort of the progressive path, or the developmental path. And the dyads really, it's a unique practice because it offers this developmental path, but it also at the same time is inviting the direct path as well. Um, so the developmental path, it's like what we were just talking about. We can work on the samskaras and the conditioning, and it's like the self structure becomes more and more permeable, or less dense, and it kind of goes this way for many people. This sort of progressive development within the self structure, and it is sort of laying the groundwork for awakening, and it has like just beautiful benefit on its own. And yet there is another possibility for the dyads that it's inviting, and this is um, you know the direct experience part of it. So you know the Kensho, or awakening, is having that direct experience, the direct waking up to what you are. And that's the cutting of the tree. If we can stay, in that, knowing that we are not the character, then then all of that work, it's almost like, when people have that flip, they, there's a smile or a cosmic joke that we get, because we realize it's been the character, the conditioned character, doing all of this work. All of this excavation is it's somehow loosening the bonds of Maya, But then, we recognize that awareness was never bound in the first place. So who was it that was struggling or doing all this sadhana and all this work? And it's like when Ramana said, "I have never done any sadhana. I have never done any sadhana." Even though you look at his life, his whole life was sadhana. But the awareness, the self with a capital S, that he knew himself to be, never did any sadhana. And yet, it was always happening within the self. And this is the greatest mystery, that we go looking for ourself, and we've always been the self. It's the craziest setup, this human game. Um, so yeah, so I guess I just wanted to share, those sort of two dimensions or two aspects to the dyads. And there's a danger that we can develop sort of a knowing mind around dyads and what it offers. So we can start to feel the benefits. We see it's doing an amazing thing in our life, and we keep clearing and going deeper with it. But we might develop a knowing, or think we know, this is what dyads are. This is what they offer. And it's good. I like it. I'm going with it. It's improving life. That's great. But we don't want to miss that, intending to have that direct experience. When it comes time to inquire into who we are, really dropping all knowing, dropping that conditioned mind, and just allowing the possibility of something utterly unknown to come forth. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to leave you with that, and um, it's just something that I see. I've seen it happen with my own practice as well. And even meditation practice can be the same way. We develop these little habits of meditating the same way, at the same time. There's some part of the mind that the mind just loves to do things, like it loves to repeat. It's like this repeating mechanism, and it'll find ways to appropriate anything, even a good thing. So one of the teachers that I had early on was Shinzen Young, and he said, sometimes you can get stuck in a good place. Get stuck in a good place. Um, so we can have these plateaus where life is improving, and but yet this is where the conditioned self can start to create more knowing. We think we've got it down, and so. I'll just leave you with that, and invite anyone else who wants to connect.
Oh, hey, Dan. Thanks
Yeah.
for sharing that
Yeah.
that insight on the dyads. It's very helpful, and
Mm.
seems like we're all kind of similar on the same page. And just those little pointers help to maybe shift if we get stuck a little bit.
Mhm.
So, can you please remind me of the dyads? When are they, and are
Mhm.
they every day?
Yeah, they are every day. So they're yeah, so our right now the 7 day cycle, like we're doing these 7 day retreat cycles. So the
Hmm.
participants in the 7 day cycle, they have it all on a schedule, and I can just send you that daily schedule, but it's also on the Awaken the World website, which
Okay.
I'll just share the URL
Okay.
directly to that right now.
Hmm.
Um,
All right. Thank you.
so It is,
Okay, I will look into it. I can go back and find that email with all the specifics for the
yeah,
7
and
retreat.
it's right on the website. So
Because I really enjoyed
very
them
good.
last time, the January. Was it January? Oh my God, that's a long time ago. Oh wow. When you did the I Am retreat. I think it was January. I can't remember now, but yeah, so I really enjoyed the Dyads, but I have to be honest, I haven't jumped on since you started up the 7 day retreat.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, great. So yeah, it is every night. It starts at 6:30, and then there's like a 1 hour period. Then we have 7:30. You always come to the evening meditation. So we there it's broken up kind of by the evening meditation, and
okay,
then more dyads after that. So
okay, cool. I think
yeah.
Anik sent you a message. She wants to
Um,
ask a question in the chat, just so you
yeah, I'm seeing that. Okay,
know. Okay.
great,
Well,
great.
thank you, Dan.
Yeah, so that link I did just post it in the chat there for anybody
Okay,
who wants
great.
a direct link to that. So
Awesome.
yeah, I'll go to Anik's message there shortly, but I'll like to talk to Guy for
Oh, right. Yes.
here. So
All
here
right.
we go. Hi, Guy. Yes.
Hi, Dan. How are you doing?
Oh, good. How are you?
Oh, very fine, very fine. I just want to share something that was very, very interesting for me. I don't know if it will be interesting for the others, but for me, it was very something interesting. It's just because you were talking about synchronicity, and it was a nice synchronicity I just lived last week. I was doing the diet, and don't ask me how it arrived. It was not just an experience like that. But I felt very, very, very strongly, I don't know how to say it, the I amness. But not only the I am of me, myself, as a little ego, but I felt a very vast, vast, vast experience. It was so vast. And I don't like to use word like Kensho, it's too pretentious, but I feel for me it was like an opening by a Kensho.
Mm.
And I won't talk anymore about this experience, it's so personal. But just the synchronicity, what happens after this experience or during this experience, during the diet, I share it with my partner, and she spontaneously she said, "Oh, maybe this guy, I don't know what is his name. I have to read it. I don't even remember." So she said, "I believe that Nisargata Maharaj will like what you say." But I didn't know about Nisargata Maharaj. So
Mm.
I just, after the diet, I just looked somewhere on Amazon to find a book. I bought it. I
Mm.
started to read it. So yes, exactly what I just live right now. That
Mm.
is this experience.
Mm.
And that was the first synchronicity. There's three synchronicity in the same time.
Wow.
Just a little
Mm.
bit after that, I went to
Mm.
my ebook, not ebook, but my email, Hotmail email, and I was just received an email from the center of Eckhart Tolle. And they invite me if I want to take a course about who you really are. It was so like direct that I said, why not? It was not so expensive, so I bought the course.
Mhm.
I read the nutshell, I can say, of the whole things. And the main subject is the I am.
Mhm.
Just feel the I am. I said, oh my
Mhm.
God, it was not finished. Same evening. After that, I went to another email from Gmail, and I just received an email from the Awakening World. It was a film from you and a beautiful poem from Lila. I am the I am.
Yes.
So,
Wow. Well, if you don't get it with that many things, like the universe is just like that's it. Yeah, that's amazing.
exactly
That's
what I
amazing.
thought.
Yeah.
That's, my God, the universe wants to tell me, carry
Yeah.
on, guy, you're on the right track.
That's amazing. Wow. Beautiful. Yeah, and that's it. It's to me, the greatest mystery, how like there really is some, big mind that, when we're open and when we're in alignment, we get these synchronicities happening. And it's uncanny. Like to me, I still am amazed at when it happens. When things like that happen, there's clearly like an alignment or, an intelligence to what's coming. And to me, it gives me a verification that I'm on the right path, that it's something real. It's, my external reality is reflecting back in a way that I can't ignore anymore, you know.
It's impossible to ignore it.
Yeah,
At least you're completely blind, but I'm a little bit,
yeah,
my eyes are a little bit open. So it
yeah,
was so clear. And for
yeah.
me, it's, how can I say, it's a give a proof that when I'm doing the right thing, I'm on the right path. And further, more than that, it's like an opening to, I can feel God acting in my life, really
Hmm.
acting. God, or call it the universe, or call it what you want, but
Yeah,
it is something like oneness
yeah.
about what I just feel and what the universe answer me. It's
Hmm.
like yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I talk with many people. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in anything like that. But I say, when you open your eyes, you can see every day in many things that the universe or God is here. It's here now.
Yeah,
It's completely here and now.
yeah.
And this I am experience is so, it was so strong and it's still so strong that I spend day and night all the time feeling it deeper and deeper and deeper.
Mm. Mm.
And this I am is not my little, as I said, it's not my little me.
Yeah.
It's a universal love. It's just an opening, and I can feel that many doors are open right now.
Mm.
That goes with it.
Mm.
This I am open the door for I don't know what now,
Mm.
but the unknown. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm very happy to hear that experience. And do you have in when you go to sleep at night, is that sense of that? Is there a change in maybe dreaming or even deep sleep? Do you
I cannot say there is a change in my dreaming or sleep,
or maybe
but
not
there
not
is.
a change in the dreams, but maybe the presence, that presence sort of abide in that space as well?
Yeah.
Mm.
Especially even if I wake up in the middle of the night, the first feeling I have, my God, I am. Just the
Mm.
first thing is there, I am
Mm.
always. And even when I feel asleep, because I was asking myself, this I am when I am asleep is not there. But I said, no, it's not true. It is still there.
Mhm.
My consciousness is not there. My awareness is not there. I am somewhere in the unconscious of the universe somewhere.
Mhm.
But the I am is still there.
Yeah.
Because the first moment my conscious arrived, it's I am.
Yeah.
This I am was there always and will be there always.
Mhm.
And it's for me a great gift I received from those dyads.
Mhm.
Great gift.
Mm.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And
Mhm.
that what that's led you to, like those teachings of Nisargadatta, or Eckhart Tolle as well, Ramana, all those teachings. There's just a handful of teachings, but I feel, that I feel are the highest teachings, the highest pointers. And that Nisargadatta book, is it the one I Am Not? Is that the book
Mhm.
you
Yes.
got?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the clarity that he brings in that book. It's so clear. His teacher told him, just stay with the I am, just stay with the I am, and that's it. And he heard that, like for him, it landed. He got it. It was like, okay, I know something deep in my being is bringing me, pointing me to the I am, and what he stayed with. And for 3 years, it took him 3 years to do, like, to purify all of the vasanas by continuously, every moment of his life, while he was working at his cigar shop and, living with his family and doing all the things he does, but every moment he wasn't going to entertainment. He wasn't going to, any distractions. He just stayed with the I am at every opportunity, and just burning up whatever. Actually, Lila today, she just put out another short film, and it's called "The Fire of What Remains." The fire of what remains. So the vasanas, all the conditioning that is yet to burn up, it actually becomes the fuel for liberation. It's like the fuel, it's like the logs that are yet to burn. So you know, to me, Nisargadatta made it so clear in that book how it works. We just abide with the I am, and let go of Maya. Let go of all the things that are attracting the senses and all of that, and the pleasures of the little character. All of that will be there. It doesn't matter ultimately, but if we're chasing those things, then we miss the deep peace and bliss that flows directly from the I am itself. Because it's just love, it's just peace. It's the more we burn in that, the more those things, they're just like a little candle compared to the illumination of the sun. So they're not important.
And I'm sure, but I don't know because I did not live it up to now. I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but I'm sure that one day in the I am, the I dissolve, and only the be stay.
Yeah.
The am stay. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how it happens, but I think that is the highest point when there is no more high.
Yeah, it's like the non-dual state, where we can get glimpses of that. Like what Nisargadatta and Ramana did was they permanently dissolved into the ocean of the self, and we can experience, on the journey of that, we can have little glimpses and experiences, and these are the beautiful non-dual states where it's we can't, words fail to describe it, but it's yeah. And what we're doing in the dyads, what we're doing in the meditation, what we're doing in life, it all becomes one thing. We just knowing who we are, knowing that we're the I am itself, and then we can watch as the little self burns in that love, and as the old conditioning starts to give way, we become less reactive and less identified with those conditioned preferences, and eventually it loses power. That little self it loses its power more and more, and until we can have these glimpses where it gives way completely. Maybe for a moment, maybe for a day, maybe for a week, and then maybe someday.
Forever.
Yeah, that's it. I haven't come to that one myself, but I've had some good runs, but mhm,
Yeah. And what I'm doing right now, because I'm still a religious person. I'm still a Christian.
mhm,
And I even follow courses at university in Christianity, and I just try, because it's not so easy sometimes, to connect the non-dual way with the dual way.
mhm,
I'll connect something that seems a God outside and a God inside. And I'm just looking at it and I said, oh, there is so many connection when you know how to read the Bible, how to read the gospel. But it's funny. It's for me. It's how can I say? It's a pleasure of my ego to play with it.
Mm.
But I like it.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too. I like making bridges. I grew up as a Catholic too, so my family is all hardcore Catholic,
Okay.
Irish Catholic. So yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So like hard, yeah, fire and brimstone kind of stuff. Um, but I love one of my good friends, Bill Free. He was in the Course in Miracles world for a long time, and that can be, I don't know if you're into that at all, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
can be kind of a bridge for some people, into non-duality. I think it sort of takes more, the traditional Christianity and sort of moves it in the direction of
Non-duality, yeah.
non-duality. Yeah.
I
Hmm.
see.
Hmm. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. I think at the root of all these traditions, it seems like there is one true teaching. Like when I read the Bible, I see the same non-dual truths, or some of the Gnostic teachings as well, like the Gospel of Thomas. You see it more clearly, but there's something. The language is totally different, but the pointer, I think, is the same.
Mm.
Mm. Mhm.
I just wanted to share this little
Mhm.
synchronicity,
Yeah,
and
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
no,
That's
thank
amazing.
you,
Yeah.
thank you, Dan.
Mhm. Okay, so I think I'll go to Anik's message here. So I'm just going to read this. So I've been experiencing a Kundalini awakening, and a few nights ago I had a dream that I was in the dark wearing a black dress. My limbs began to move in different directions on their own, and then I walked into my room and started writing symbols on a tall mirror. I often see light beings around me. They don't frighten me, but I'm curious about what the dream might mean. A voice also confirmed that I'm going through a Kundalini awakening during the dream. Amazing. So I'm just going to reread that. Dream that I was in the dark wearing a black dress. My limbs began to move in different directions on their own. Walked into the room and started writing symbols on a tall mirror. Hmm. Yeah, so for me, sometimes, when we're in the dream state, there are dreams and then there are communications that can happen, like communications from the higher mind. And these communications are often encoded in symbols. They're usually highly symbolic. And for those who, if you really want to go into that world, I can't think of a better guide than Carl Jung. And there's a book, the Red Book. If you want to really get into the symbology of the spirit world, and to see a beautiful example of these kinds of possibilities. So to me, this seems like this is very archetypal. It seems like there's something that wants to come through, a teaching or a pointer, and to me, I don't feel there's an interpretation per se, that, this is what it means. I think these things are very personal. So I don't want to put any kind of filter on it, my own, kind of interpretation of it. But I'll just maybe throw out a few things that are coming up for me in it. So I would say, the woman, you're in the dark, wearing the black dress. So it seems like darkness seems to be a bit of a theme today. The darkness, the black dress is like something you would wear at a funeral, so the death of the little self, going into the darkness. And as we talked about earlier, that at a certain point in the darkness retreat, you realize, it's all, there is no more dark and light. Dark and light are part of the dualistic world. So that duality, when the little self dies, the dualistic character dies, then you could say there's a rebirth in that. So so then I walked into the room and started writing symbols on a tall mirror. So that's a beautiful image, perfect image, So the symbols, language, the mirror, the mind is often represented as a mirror, So what's being reflected back, in the so it's interesting there, you're in the dark, but yet there's still this mirror that can obviously be seen. So if it was completely dark, there would be no mirror. So it's interesting. There's this mirror in the dark. So there's still light. There's still luminosity being reflected. So to me, like the mind, sometimes with things like this, the mind is like, oh, what are those symbols? I want to figure those out. What does that mean? But to me, just the fact that there's a mirror there with symbols reflecting back, there's still some sort of light and dark happening, even though there's this sort of death dress, the black dress, like the funeral is happening, which is good. The funeral is for the occupant or the little self. So yeah, so to me, the Kundalini awakening is, when these energies wake up, they really connect us to these higher levels of mind and higher levels of self. So whatever's coming through, it's coming through to show you the situation of what's happening, what's happening in life in the big picture. Usually these communications they're just showing you in a beautiful symbolic way what could be happening. So yeah, so to me it's just it sounds like you have a knowing of what's happening. You know that this is happening, and this is just further confirmation. This is just showing you, the feeling I get from these things. Like when I get my own sort of communications happening, it's like what Guy was sharing with the synchronicities. There's a power in it. We get these communications, and it's like, wow, like where, it's incredible. This mind, this one mind is, has this beautiful poetic way of showing us what's happening in our life. And there's a feeling that, it's of the mystery of life. And, that feeling of being open to that mystery and just, allowing it to come through, allowing the exploration to happen. It's that feeling more than anything. I think that is, for me, that's the compass. If I can stay open, stay in that feeling, keep, following the breadcrumbs, keep, like in Alice in Wonderland, like follow the white rabbit, um, yeah, just keep going with it, and to me, it's not about, you know, figuring it out with the mind. In some ways, you go further and further down the rabbit hole, and the more magical it gets, the more incredible it gets, and pretty soon you forget about trying to figure it out, and it's taking you on the journey, and it's, that beautiful poetry, this symbology is just, it's the adornment of the journey. It's just a beautiful reflection, like what's appearing in the mirror. It's just a beautiful reflection. So yeah, we don't need to get too caught up in the particulars of the reflection, but
Thank you. What you said makes sense to me. I was struggling, or I was trying to figure out what I saw, but I think that your breakdown makes a lot of sense, and you explained it perfectly. So thank you.
wonderful. Yeah, and so may I ask, like when did this Kundalini awakening start? I think you mentioned it a few nights ago. So this is something
Um,
pretty new for you?
n no, actually, it's been ongoing for, sorry, my voice is a little rough. It's been ongoing for a few months, I think about a year now, but it
Okay.
started very slowly, and for the past 2 months, my symptoms are becoming very intense. And I was actually sharing it with Lisa, and she's the reason why I joined Tuesday's sessions, because she wanted me to share my experience. But the dream was about 3 days ago.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And when you say symptoms, what do you mean by symptoms? Like usually that word is related to like a sickness or something.
Right.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Well, at first I thought I was sick, but I feel a lot of sensations in my body. I can feel myself vibrate. I feel heat in my legs, and there's also heat in my lower belly, but I can feel movements going up my spine. Um, I get intense, I'll call it panic attack, or like heaviness in my chest. And when that happens, I get a lot of messages. It's as if someone is sharing something with me, and I write it down very quickly. It could be about myself, about people in my life, about humanity, about current events, but I get insight of what's happening. And so I write everything down, because if I don't, I forget right after I calm down. I have dreams and where I've entities have introduced themselves to me, and at first I thought either I was losing my mind, or something was physically wrong with me, because I was experiencing body pains. And I started meditating even more. And when I joined, I think the meditation in the morning and the evening, during one of the meditations, I received that it sort of clicked in that it was an awakening that I was going through. Um, I also I always knew, but I think a gift that I have has become more pronounced. I'm able to pick up on um, people's thoughts. I still struggle with sort of coming to terms with what's going on. So, because I'm pretty rational, so I maybe think that it's medically something is wrong, but I also believe in higher beings in a spiritual life. My grandmother was a shaman, her mother was a shaman. So I know that we have a gift, and maybe it's now coming to light, and I don't know. I guess I'm lost. I don't have my grandmother to share this with or speak with. So I don't know what to do with all this.
Hmm. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing your journey. Um, to me, it sounds like what you're describing, and these cities or um, abilities, certain new abilities are coming online or new ways of seeing. So these are characteristics of a very strong Kundalini awakening. When that energy hits the different intuition centers in the body, then different things can come online. And in my own journey, I had my Kundalini awakening was maybe not as. It sounds like yours is very strong. Like you're getting a lot of phenomena. Mine was pretty strong, but a lot of it there was a lot of physical reconfiguration for me when I went through that. Went through, it was about a 2 or 3 year period where that energy came really alive, and I had to learn everything again, like how to feed myself. Like my diet completely changed. At that point, I had to just kind of find a new balance of, like how does that energy want to move and express in my life. And for me, it seemed clear it wanted to go into creating films and stuff like that. So that was actually a way to move that energy and to allow it to come into my life in a way that, and through, the meditation and the actual sadhana as well. So I would say, it's great that you're coming to the meditations. When that energy awakens, like, in the Hindu tradition, I'm sure you're familiar with all this, but um, the Shakti is, that energy, that life force, and it has to be in balance with Shiva. So Shiva is just our knowing, our pure consciousness, our witnessing part of ourself. And the two, as that energy grows, our capacity to just be in that witnessing position without getting taken by the phenomena, that witnessing has to become more potent, more powerful, to keep the two in balance. So the more that Shakti, gets strong, the greater equanimity, and the greater witnessing capacity I need to sort of allow and encompass that. And the marriage of Shiva and Shakti is when the two are just in balance, and we can allow, all of these new things to come through and these expressions, without, um, you know, without the little self, worrying I'm going insane, or fears come up, and because it can be scary when it feels like something new, something unknown, and it can be a lot of sensation and phenomena. Um, it can feel like something's wrong if that, as we're, to me, it feels sometimes like how I imagine a caterpillar in the cocoon feels when it's dissolving, So there's a transition stage that's not comfortable in that.
Okay, thank you. And also the diet, you mentioned it earlier, it's the same. I can no longer consume animal products, so I eat fruits mostly and nuts throughout the day, but I grew up eating meat, so there's been a lot of drastic changes, which are good because I feel lighter, I feel better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good to, yeah, and everybody is different in terms of the instructions that they'll get from that energy. So yeah, for me, what led to my Kundalini awakening was a lot of interrupt in my conditioned pattern at that time in my life. But I was doing a very sort of sattvic diet, a very, very light diet. I was a vegetarian at the time before that. So there was this sort of lightening up. And for me, actually, what happened was my intuition told me, or I even started getting dreams about meat, and I had actually a lot of synchronicities. I have a friend who's a naturopath who told me, I need to get grounded. I was very ungrounded at that time. And so I was the opposite. I had to actually reintroduce meat into my life, even though my little spiritual side was like, that doesn't make sense. That's, my everything I'd seen or heard, in the spiritual teachings was that I need to be eating a sattvic diet. So it took my little spiritual ego went screaming and kicking into that one. It didn't want to go there, but it became very clear that that was necessary on my own path, and to the point where I resisted it for like a good year, and until I started even dreaming. Even my dreams were like dreams about meat and stuff. So it was a strange thing. So yeah, so I think what I learned in that process was to forget everything I think I know and just allow that intelligence to take over. Just trust that intuition. There's an intelligence online in you that knows way more than you do, and it will show you the way.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Anik. Okay, well, we're at 12:26 already. Wow, time flew by. Um, Thank you, everyone. And yeah, we'll see you all around the dyads. Yeah, I didn't realize that some of you didn't know that those were happening every night. So you're all welcome to show up for dyads if you're drawn to that. It's beautiful practice, just a very small group showing up every night right now. But yeah, you're welcome to do that. And all the info is on the website. So yeah, thanks for sharing, everyone. It was a beautiful share today.